Everybody's got this picture in their head of what greatness looks like. They see the end result. They see the championship, the success, the accolades, the money, the recognition. They see somebody standing on top and they think that's greatness. They think greatness is that moment, that pinnacle, that achievement, but they're looking at it all wrong. Greatness isn't a finish line you cross. It's not some destination where you arrive and then you're done. That's the comfortable lie we tell ourselves, because if greatness is a destination, then we have permission to rest once we get there. We have permission to be lazy. We have permission to stop pushing. But that's not how it works. Greatness is a process. It's a daily commitment. It's the 1,000 small choices you make when nobody's watching that accumulate into something extraordinary. Most people don't understand this because they're looking for the shortcut. They're looking for the magic moment, the lucky break, the one thing that's going to change everything. But it doesn't work that way. Real greatness is built on the foundation of repetition and discipline. It's built on showing up when you don't feel like it. It's built on doing the work when there's no audience, no applause, no validation coming from the outside. That's where the real transformation happens, in the silence, in the solitude, in the moments where it's just you and your commitment. Think about 5 a.m. There's something sacred about that hour. While the world sleeps, while people are comfortable in their beds, the ones who are serious wake up. They get up and they move. They hit the gym. They study, they practice, they work on their craft. Nobody sees it. Nobody knows about it. But they do it anyway because they understand that greatness isn't built during business hours. It's not built when everyone's watching. It's built in the dark, in the silence, when the only person holding you accountable is you. And then there's all the unglamorous work that never makes the highlight reel. It's the repetition that seems boring. It's the failure that nobody talks about. It's the setbacks that you have to push through. It's showing up and doing again and again and again, even when you're tired, and even when you're frustrated, even when progress seems slow. This is where intention becomes action. This is where the people who talk about their dreams separate from the people who actually live them. The difference between someone who achieves greatness and someone who doesn't isn't usually talent. It's not usually circumstances. It's the process. It's the commitment to the daily work. It's understanding that every single day you're either building toward your greatness or you're moving away from it. There's no neutral. There's no coasting. Every choice matters because every choice compounds. Some people think grit is something you're born with. They think it's genetic. They think some people are just naturally tough, naturally resilient, naturally able to push through pain and difficulty. That's a lie. That's an excuse people use when they're looking for a reason why they don't have it. Grit isn't inherited. Grit is built, and it's built in the moments that break most people. Listen, everybody faces difficulty. Everybody faces the moment where they want to quit. That's not unique. That's not special. What separates people is what they do in that moment. When you're tired, when you're hurting, when the progress isn't visible, when you're starting to question if this is worth it. That's the moment. That's when grit is forged. Most people quit right there. They feel the pressure and they fold. They find an excuse that sounds reasonable. They tell themselves they'll try again tomorrow or next month or next year. But tomorrow never comes the same way, and next month becomes next year, and next year becomes never. That's the story of people who don't develop grit. They quit in the moment. But the people who build grit, they refuse. In that moment when everything inside them is screaming to stop, they go one more round. They do one more rep. They make one more call. They work one more hour. They don't feel any different than the person who quit. They're not stronger in that moment. They're not tougher, but they choose differently. And that choice, repeated over and over again, becomes grit. Grit is built through repetition. It's the same boring workout you do Monday through Friday when nobody's watching. It's the same process you follow over and over and over again. It's the unsexy work that doesn't make for good stories or impressive posts on social media. It's the discipline to do the fundamentals when you're tired of doing the fundamentals. It's showing up to practice when practice isn't fun anymore. Here's what most people don't get: the repetition is where the magic is. Not in the dramatic moment, not in the big breakthrough. It's in the consistency. It's in the 1,000 times you did it right even though you didn't feel like it. That's where grit lives. In the repetition that nobody celebrates, in the work that only you know about. And you know what? Nobody has to see it. Nobody has to validate it. Nobody has to applaud it. That's not why you do it. You do it because you know it counts. You do it because every rep, every day, every time you refuse to quit when you want to quit, you're building something inside you that can't be shaken. You're building the kind of grit that carries you through the real challenges. That's not inherited. That's built by you. That's earned. And that's what separates people who achieve their goals from people who don't. Everybody wants to be great until they find out what it costs. That's when the conversation changes. That's when people start negotiating. They want to be great, but they don't want to let go of comfort. They want to be great, but they're not willing to stop hanging around certain people. They want to be great, but they're not ready to give up their habits, their routines, their lifestyle. That's when you know they don't really want it. Let me be clear about something. There is a price to greatness. There is always a price. And the price isn't paid in money. It's paid in sacrifice. It's paid in the things you have to let go of. And if you're not willing to pay that price, then stop wasting your time and everybody else's time talking about your dreams. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. It's the warm bed that keeps you from getting up at 5 a.m. It's the Netflix show that keeps you from working on your craft. It's the easy path that keeps you from pushing yourself. You cannot chase greatness while you're clinging to comfort. It's impossible. You have to let go of one to get the other. And most people choose comfort because it's easier. It requires nothing from you. But if you're serious, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to be willing to be cold. You have to be willing to be hungry. You have to be willing to sacrifice the things that make life easy so you can build something extraordinary. That's not optional. That's mandatory. And then there are the people. You're going to have to let go of certain people. Not because they're bad people necessarily, but because they're not on the same mission as you. They're not chasing what you're chasing. They're comfortable with mediocrity, and they'll pull you back to that level if you let them. You can't elevate to a higher level while you're surrounded by people who are determined to stay low. It doesn't work that way. The people around you either lift you up or drag you down. There's no middle ground. So you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to distance yourself from certain relationships. You're going to have to let go of people you care about because caring about them isn't more important than your mission. And that's hard. That's real hard. But that's the price. And the habits that keep you small, the habits that make you feel good in the moment but destroy you in the long run. You have to break those habits. You have to replace them with discipline. You have to replace comfort with commitment. This is why most people don't become great. They're not willing to pay the price. They want the reward without the sacrifice. They want the result without the work. They want to keep their comfort and their habits and their people and somehow still become extraordinary. But life doesn't work that way. If you're going to be great, you have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to let go. Most people see the obstacle and they turn around. They see rejection and they take it as a sign that they're not supposed to do it. They face resistance and they interpret it as confirmation that the path is wrong. But that's not what obstacles are. That's not what they mean. Obstacles aren't stop signs. Obstacles are the way. They're not redirecting you away from your greatness. They're redirecting you toward it. See, here's what happens when life is easy. When things come to you without struggle. When you don't face rejection. When you don't hit resistance. You become soft. You become entitled. You start to believe that things should just happen for you. And the moment something gets difficult, and it will get difficult, you crumble. You don't have the tools. You don't have the character. You don't have the foundation to handle real adversity. But rejection is a teacher. It's telling you something. Maybe it's telling you that you need to get better. Maybe it's telling you that the approach was wrong. Maybe it's telling you that you're not ready yet. Rejection isn't a dead end. It's information. It's feedback. And if you're wise enough to listen to it, if you're humble enough to learn from it, rejection becomes one of your greatest assets. Struggle is the same way. People run from struggle like it's the enemy. They see difficulty and they think that's a sign they should do something easier. But struggle is where you develop strength. It's where you develop resilience. It's where you learn what you're actually made of. You never know how strong you are until you're tested. You never know your capacity until you're pushed beyond what you thought was possible. And resistance from the world, resistance from other people, resistance from your own mind. Resistance is essential. It's resistance that forces you to get clear on what you want. It's resistance that weeds out the people who aren't serious. It's resistance that separates the committed from the casual. If the path was easy, everybody would be walking it. Everybody would be great, but they're not. Why? Because most people don't want it bad enough to push through the resistance. This is the part that separates people. Some people see the obstacle and they see an excuse to quit. Other people see the obstacle and they see an opportunity. They understand that this is where character is built. This is where you become someone different. This is where you develop the toughness, the wisdom, the resilience that you're going to need to sustain greatness. Because here's the truth. If you can't handle the struggle to get to the top, you definitely can't handle the struggle to stay there. Greatness requires constant challenge. It requires constant resistance. And if you haven't built the character in your journey to handle that resistance, you're going to fall, you're going to break, you're going to quit. So stop running from the obstacle. Stop seeing rejection as failure. Stop interpreting resistance as a sign to turn back. These things aren't stopping you. They're building you. Talent is overrated. Everybody's talking about talent like it's the magic ingredient. Like if you've got talent, you've got it made. But I'm telling you right now, talent without work is worthless. Talent without grit is just potential that dies on the vine. I've seen talented people fail all the time. I've seen people with incredible natural ability end up with nothing because they relied on that talent instead of doing the work. And here's what separates the people who make it from the people who don't. It's not talent. It's work. It's the willingness to outwork everybody else. Not by a little bit, by a lot. There's a difference. Most people don't understand what that means. They think outworking people means working a little harder than average, working a little longer than normal. That's not it. That's not even close. Outworking everybody means that while people are sleeping, you're working. While people are making excuses, you're grinding. While people are resting on their weekends, you're pushing. While people are watching television, you're studying, you're preparing, you're getting better. This is the separation point. This is where the winners diverge from everybody else. It's not complicated. It's not mysterious. It's simple. You do more. You work more. You sacrifice more time and energy and comfort than the next person. That's it. That's the formula. See, talent might get you in the door. Talent might give you an advantage when you're starting out, but it won't carry you all the way. You're going to hit a wall where the people around you are talented too. You're going to reach a level where talent isn't enough anymore. And in that moment, what's going to separate you? Work, grit, the fact that you've been putting in more hours than anybody else. The fact that you've been perfecting your craft while others were comfortable. And here's the thing that most people don't want to hear. You probably need to work more than you think. You probably need to push harder than feels necessary. Because if it feels sufficient, it's probably not. If you feel like you're working hard enough, you're probably not working hard enough. The people who make it to the top are always doing more than what seems reasonable.